Another day of challenge, and I'm here to talk to you about calibrating your nurturing. And this is a topic that we don't normally talk about. What comes to mind when you think of nurturing? For me, it's the first thing is nurturing your kids if you have kids, or your pets if you have pets. But we're going to think a little bit out of the box and challenge you to think of other things. So let's do a baseline. So well, let's randomly think of, you could nurture your plants. That's another one that's pretty common. And nurturing your garden, nurturing your hobbies. So we want to think and do things a little bit out of the normal. That's how we challenge ourselves. So let's start with some baseline information. So the definition of nurturing is the activity of caring for and protecting someone or something while they are growing or developing. So that's a pretty generic definition. I want to take some time and delve a little deeper about how you care for something. So you give it attention or thought. You give to something that you are doing so that you will do it well or avoid mistakes or damage. So that's kind of a definition of care. And then protect, to make sure that something is not harmed, injured, or damaged. So we all love to protect our animals and our plants and our kids. So we want to grow is to develop and improve particular qualities or skills. So what I'd like you to do is take a second, and just hopefully you have a piece of paper because you're here to get challenged. And I want you to think out of the box. What are some of the things? Let's go a little deeper than just say your kids or just your. So let's look at life. So, how and what do you nurture in your environment? So, this again could be your plants, could be your garden, could be your hobby. Um, so, anything that you care for that you want to make sure it does, heck, it could be your automobile. It doesn't necessarily grow, but you need to protect it from failing, and you definitely need to take care of it. So, by nurturing your automobile, you might take it to regular checkups and oil changes and tire rotations and all that good stuff. So that's really out of the box thinking if you want to think about nurturing your car. But other things too. Go in a little deeper and how would you nurture and what are you going to do? But first, brainstorm a list of stuff that you currently nurture or think of. Let's see if I can think of another one out of the box. Um, Obviously, if you're a gardener, you plant flowers or you plant vegetables, you're going to nurture them so that they grow. And nurturing them might be to give them fertilizer or plenty of water, not too much water, just the right amount of water. And, aerating the soil might be something that you do to nurture those plants. So the the thing I want to really focus on today, though, that we tend to always forget is ourself. So how do you nurture yourself? Do you even think of nurturing yourself? Most people always think about taking care of others. So, if you're a mom, you're obviously going to nurture the kids to death, and they're always going to be your priority. If you're a mom and you're working and you care about your career, then yes, you're going to also nurture your business and you're going to nurture your career. And so you want to be able to, and then my husband always says, I'm always last in the food chain. And so, yes, then comes the husband taking care of the spouse and being able to nurture that relationship, which, frankly, by the third on the food chain gets a little less attention. You might find that nurturing your home to make it the environment that you want to raise your kids in, or you want to enjoy yourself and relax in. So keeping the furniture nice and keeping the house clean, that's all part of nurturing your environment. Um, I think the key thing, though, I wanted to talk about today was taking time to nurture yourself. So let's think about How do you care about yourself? What are you doing that you do just for yourself? I mean, do you take time out in the day for yourself? Do you enjoy cooking and making delicious, healthy meals for yourself? Do you enjoy going for walks or exercise? Or I just spent the weekend kayaking in a very serene lake, and it was very enjoyable, very relaxing. And, it took maybe 45 minutes to cruise around this small mountain lake. And that was very nurturing to me. So I want you to take a moment, get your paper out, and start listing what do you do currently to nurture yourself? It could be taking that 15 minutes, 20 minutes to read a book, a magazine, or I hate to say catch up on the news because that's kind of depressing. Something that you find rejuvenates you or relaxes you and allows you to rejuvenate. And then I want you to take uh, a moment to think about what else you could do. What did you do in the past that you always enjoyed doing? I'm always a reader. So if I haven't read a novel in a while, I kind of say, "Wow, man, I haven't, I need a fiction novel to get it to escape, get away from the streaming on TV and actually picture it in my head and try to figure out what's going on in the book." So what haven't you done in a while? Did you used to do a sport or like golf or hike and you haven't done it in a while, but you found it very nurturing and very enjoyable? So make a list of those things, the things that you used to do that you'd like to do again. Okay. Now, this is the challenge. The challenge is think out of the box. What have you always wanted to do or thought would be interesting or fun to try? And let's make a list of those. And, we're not looking for the typical, okay, we always think of nurturing ourselves by going to a spa day and getting our nails done or, you know, going out for beers. I'm trying to think, what do guys do? And so you really need to think about what's new out there. What's new and I want to try pickleball, but my husband says I'm a dead hard tennis player. You're not getting me on a pickleball course. And I just think it's such a craze. Why not try it? But what else comes to mind for you that you have, seen recently or in the past that you said, "Oh, that looks like it would be fun or relaxing or enjoyable?" And now I want you to take a moment to think about environments that you find relaxing or rewarding. And I'm a water person. So if I can be by water, I love listening to water, whether it's the waves crashing on the shore or the stream going down over the rocks and gurgling and burgling. I love it. We have a stream in the backyard, and when it rains a lot, it really gets going. And it's just, I'm always looking because it changes direction. It's amazing how powerful water is. But I'm always looking for the little waterfalls that make that wonderful noise. And I find it very soothing to be around water, as long as it's not crashing too hard. So I was lucky to be in the mountains this weekend. And though I'm not really happy about thunderstorms in the mountains right now with lightning strikes, but it was great to have the rain and the pitter patter on the roof. Um, got a little scary as the thunder was getting pretty loud. So that meant strike lightning was, nearby. But it's just amazing what it can do for you as far as if you take a moment just to listen to it and relax and take some nice cleansing breaths. So, also another thought is if you're thinking about what do you do for others that you wish somebody would do for you? So I we travel a lot and we always book the kind of condos, which means I cook. So my husband actually is a great cook, taught me a lot about spices and such. But just over the years, it's just we've gotten into the routine that if I want to eat at a decent hour, I need to cook. Otherwise, we'll be eating late at night. Uh, but just that luxury of going out and having a nice meal in a nice environment, um, and what that does for me, it gives me a night off from cooking. I do love to cook though, so I don't mind doing it most of the time. I find that I have all these cutting utensils for cooking, the choppers and whatever auto electric things, and I still like to get the knife out and cut up my vegetables. I find it very meditative and very relaxing. Uh, I just enjoy it. It's not a burden at all. And actually my husband enjoys cutting up vegetables too. So we kind of fight over that. Just floating in a swimming pool and looking at the clouds and watching the clouds. So what kind of environments really give you that moment of self-reflection, relaxation, and ability to rejuvenate and re-energize? And once you have a list of those, you need to think about how you can fit those into your day, your week, or at least on the weekend, so that you have a moment to enjoy those. Life's short. You need to schedule those things in. All right. So the next thing I wanted to share was as part of my freebie is finding the time. We have a tendency to overbook ourselves and we constantly think and expect that we should be able to do it all. And the reality is, as we say, there's never enough time in a day. We all have the same amount of time. It's what we choose to do with our time. So part of it is scheduling or making it habit to do self-care items. But we always feel guilty about it. So my gift to you is a um, how to get back a free hour or two in your day. And I want to talk about mindset because I've given you a tool to help you go through and do it. But what I want you to think about is everything we do, most of it, 80% of it is by habit. If you're driving and all of a sudden you realize you're driving home and you had one more stop to do, well, your mind was someplace else, but you have the habit of driving home, so you drove home instead of stopping by the post office or the grocery store. And so you have to backtrack. So 80% of what we do is subconscious. The way you can save time or get time back and get is to look at what you're doing and kind of identify areas that you can put into a routine. Think about how you get up in the morning. Do you, you know, take a drink of water, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth? You do so much of that as habit. And what I want you to the gift in the additional challenge is to find something that you do throughout the day that isn't quite a routine yet. You randomly do it. You don't always think about, well, it's a last minute thought, that you're doing it. Um, but take a moment to think through your day and find something that you can say, hey, I do this all the time, so I might as well put it into a routine. I mean, one of the things that I like to do is set up the coffee pot the night before. So when I get up in the morning, it's ready for me. It's one less thing I have to do to think about in the morning. When I have the kids at home, I make their lunches the night before. So things that you would normally do at a given time, think about how you can put that into a routine. The benefit of a routine is when you start doing it over and over again, you also look at how maybe you could cut back some of the steps. So in other words, you're shortening the time that it takes. You're figuring out a better way of doing things. So you want to be able to go ahead and, put a routine in place, give it a try for a while, and then revisit it and say, how can I make this better? Or how can I make it shorter? How can I do it faster? And the more you do it, it becomes habit. The less you have to think about it, and the faster you'll do it. So that's kind of the concept of the tool that I gave you, the 5 steps to getting 1 or 2 hours of guilt-free time. Now, when you get that time back, it's not to do more work. It's not to do more house cleaning. That hour is to do more self-care and to nurture yourself. So take a moment and think about, okay, I'm gonna get some time back in a day, even if it's a half hour. I'm gonna get some time back in a day, a half hour. What am I gonna do for myself in that half hour? Now, when my kids were little, they all understood the concept of timeout. So if you're a mom and you have kids, you can use this. You can say, Mom's going on a timeout. She needs a little self care. I think that's another thing that I wasn't raised with self care. Although I observed my mother, and she always sat in the living room and she said, don't bug me when I'm in the living room on my sofa reading my book. And that was her self care time. And I always just wanted to grow up and be able to read those big, thick books. And so that became my self care, self time. And I passed that on to my kids. But I never really talked to them about the fact that this was self time. And I think as parents and as our generation we need to talk more about self-care, and we need to talk about why we're doing it and the value of it and how much we enjoy it. And not, again, I mentioned that nurturing isn't necessarily one of the things that we talk a lot about. We just do it. So I think it does warrant being able to have more time for yourself. So let's recap here. I've given you a couple of challenges. So the challenge is make a list of the things that you do now for yourself and keep doing those. Make a list of things you used to do for yourself and think about doing them again. And then think out of the box. What are some of the things you've seen or heard and thought would be interesting, and be able to do maybe that for yourself, self-care. And then the last thing is the challenge of finding some time throughout your day by putting together routines that'll become habits. And that way you'll be able to get them done a lot faster, free up some time, and dedicate that time to self-care. So again, you're in your session here on the site, you will find my free gift of how to get back 1 or 2 guilt-free hours within a day. I'm Marilyn Robinson. I'm a life navigation specialist. I'm here to help you move your life forward in whatever direction you choose to do. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time.